Okay. Is everybody here? Where's Everett?
Just waiting on him. I just wanted to comment that we're just waiting for Councillors Everett Cook to join us, and we'll be starting shortly.
Technology at its best.
Hey, Mayor Avery, Councillor Cook will be joining us there momentarily. He's just a little bit of technical problems, so.
Should we begin?
Yeah.
Okay. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Motion of council to approve the meeting via use of electronic means given the current directives of the province of New Brunswick regarding COVID-19 pandemic.
I'll make a motion.
Motion made by Councillor Ellison. Do I have a second? Seconded by Councillor Murray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Contrary minded? Motion carried. Opening prayer, Deputy Mayor Harris.
Let's pray. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, watch over this meeting this evening. Give us wisdom to the mayor and council as we make decisions for our town. Allow all those who present to be open-minded to what is being discussed. Dear Heavenly Father, be with our federal and provincial leaders as all affected by this COVID crisis. Dear Heavenly Father, in your wonderful name, your blessed name, amen.
Amen.
Thank you. Can I get a motion to approve the agenda?
So
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councillor Ellison. Seconded by
Councillor Harris.
Deputy Mayor Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Fire report. Is Justin able to attend? Jason?
Justin here?
Deputy Mayor Harris?
Chief Johnson is here. Just one moment.
I think he's here.
We'll be bringing him on here just 1 second there.
Oh, I got conflict of interest declarations. Are there any? Hearing none, then we'll go on and wait for Justin.
Just one moment. We'll be moving him over here.
Hi, Captain Johnson. Chief Johnson,
How you
sorry.
doing, Justin?
How are you just doing?
You just have to unmute.
All right, how's that?
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Perfect.
Good evening.
All right, on with the fire report. For the month of April, we responded to 35 incidents. 14 were inside town and 21 were outside of town. We had one mutual aid structure fire on Deer Island. We had one vehicle accident. We had 30 grass/brush fires, one outside fire, which was inside town limits, and 2 structure fires. We had no regular monthly meetings or training sessions due to COVID-19. Both Station 1 and Station 2 remain closed to the public effective March 17th, 2020. Only SGFD members are permitted in the stations. Both Station 1 and Station 2 now have non-contact thermometers. We are recording temperatures and have screening questions in place. We have developed this with recommendation of the Office of the Fire Marshal for returning from calls and putting trucks back in service and ready for the next call. We put new sign-in sheets, been in place now since last month. At both stations, everyone is signing in and out, even contractors. I would like to thank everyone for taking the 2 seconds to sign in and sign out. And both stations received hand sanitizer, surgical masks, safety goggles, Lysol wipes, face shields, and other PPE from the Office of the Fire Marshals. These items are in place at both stations and ready available for our members. Respectfully submitted, Chief Justin Johnston.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
Just one question, Justin, about the 30 grass fires. We're way down on that, aren't we?
We are,
Which is-
yes.
which is great.
Oh, it is. It's a nice little break.
Yes, it is.
I don't know if this is a blessing or not, but it actually helped.
Thanks, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to building and planning report, Southwest New Brunswick Service Commission. Do we have Alex?
We'll be bringing Alex Henderson in.
Yeah,
Just one moment.
okay.
Hi there. Thanks for
Hi,
having me.
Alex.
So the Southwestern Brunswick Service Commission has proposed a new subdivision bylaw for town council's consideration. We briefly touched on it in last month's meeting. Since that last month's meeting, there's been two little updates. We proposed a bylaw with the formatting that most St. George bylaws use. So Jason sent that over to us and we adapted it to that. Also, in the brief to council to explain the proposed new subdivision bylaw, I included a visual description or example of what a type 1 versus a type 2 subdivision is, which I feel will be very helpful to council as they make their decision about this. In other news, PRAC met virtually on April 16th and approved two St. George files. One was the private access for the new animal shelter. As well, there was a variance related to a larger than permitted garage that was proposed for 59 South Street. Both applications were approved. We're looking for direction about the St. George Municipal Plan and Zoning Bylaw. I think we needed to check in last time with the municipal elections coming. The decision was to put some of that work on hold, but given that there's a little bit of delay, we just wanted to check in to see if there's any change in council and whether they wanted to get started on these projects. Development update. 2 building permits were issued since the last report. Value is $227,000. 1 development permit issued, value $100,000, and 4 subdivision applications received to date, and 2 have received their final approval in this year. In other regional relevant activity, the Service Commission has received funding for the Environmental Trust Fund to hire a climate change adaptation implementer, similar to Tanya Harrington's role, but this one with climate change adaptation. So there's a number of actions in a regional plan on climate change, which will be beneficial and yield some good data for St. George. Also, we're continuing with housing market research. It has a rental focus to encourage development of rental housing, which we expect to be very beneficial to the town. And despite the economic uncertainty with the current COVID crisis, we're looking at this in perspective of long-term versus short-term cycles. So hopefully we'll have that something ready to present in the next month or so. And that's it for me. Thanks.
Thank you. On to presentations and delegations. A, EMO status update on COVID-19 and the town of St. George. Jason?
Yes, so just a bit of an EMO update in regards to the COVID-19 pandemic. At the April council meeting, I gave a bit of an update since the pandemic began here with the town. So coming out of the Easter weekend, there were 116 cases, and there appeared to be a change in mood in residents as a state emergency was as if a state emergency was lifted and the all clear sounded. So we did have a bit of a change. There was after the Easter week that we saw more people out in the community. Certainly the weather helped that matter too. Certainly my concern with the pandemic is once the public starts to ease its attention on the matter, we may be letting our guards down. So we're certainly continuing to work with the province, getting messages out over social media, because we're certainly not through this storm as of yet. Over the weekend of April 18th, 19th, non-essential activities were still occurring with some places. So we did certainly send some notices out to some residents and put it out again the town hall memo just to make sure that people were aware that the directives are still in place. On Monday, the 20th, there were 118 cases in New Brunswick, and that started to indicate that New Brunswick was probably over the curve. On April the 22nd, Mayor Avery and myself, we had a conference call with Canadian Border Service agencies. According to their data, since restricting all non-essential travel across Canada and the US border, they've seen a decline of 79% by land and sea. And this is a 94% decrease compared to the same period last year. Entry into Canada remains prohibited, non-essential entry, but some late snowbirds may still be crossing the border and returning home. We continue again throughout that week with telephone conference calls with provincial departments such as public health and public safety. April the 24th, the province announced a phased approach to returning to normalcy. The province moved to the initial phase of a light red or a pink. We started in a phase red at the height of the pandemic. During some of these phases, during that phase of the light red or the pink, I went to a 2-household bubble, reopening of golf courses, and the opening of fish and hunting seasons. It should be noted that since the state emergency order went into effect in the province, at that point, over 990 tickets with fines ranging from $290 to $10,000 was issued by the province. So they're certainly out there enforcing. Entering into May, the future looked very good for New Brunswick. Total numbers of confirmed cases topped 118. We had a bit of a lull there with no new cases. By May the 3rd, there were no longer any active cases in New Brunswick, so that was certainly, we had a great time there. However, on May 5th, the province announced its first case since April 18th. Another new case was announced the next day, May the 6th, and that being a long-haul trucker in the St. John area. Makes it to cases of 120 cases in the province. On Friday, May the 8th, the province moved to phase orange, lifted a number of restrictions, yet introduced a number of controls then within the phase orange, the phase allows for retail facilities, offices and restaurants to open, as well as a return to elective surgeries, priority health services. Concerns continue to, discussions continue to happen regarding seasonal residents, cottage owners, being admitted into New Brunswick. This is especially concerning for our neighboring communities such as St. Andrews, St. Stephen, who have a large seasonal population or experience an increase in traffic from seasonal travelers. By the second week of May, there have been over 17,700 tests completed in New Brunswick. So that's sort of where we're at now. No new cases as of yet, and we remain at a phase orange. So we're hoping that the next couple of weeks we can move to a phase yellow and get a little bit more of normalcy. So that's my report.
Thank you, Jason. I have a question. The care of like YMCA with the children and stuff, that's going to be opening up too, is it not?
Yeah, we've been talking with the YMCA for the Macadavic. They'd like to start as they're reaching out to parents now, perhaps with operation starting next week. So they're certainly just going to start to move there. We've already done a lot of signage out there. During the downtime, we're using that to do some painting and cleaning in there. We wax the floors. And again, the Macadavic has been untouched for at least 2 months. And so any type of viruses, we've cleaned them or allowed them to sort of settle and die out. So yeah, so if you're a parent that maybe has had a child in the programs, you should be expecting a call probably this week from them.
That's good news. Okay, moving on to our second delegate, who is allotted 15 minutes for his presentation. It's Mr. Stephen Swim. He's a resident, 49 Riverview Avenue. Good evening.
Good evening. Are we ready to begin?
Your floor is yours.
Okay. First of all, I would like to say good evening to Mayor Avery and to council. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Stephen Swim. As Faye says, I am a resident of St. George, and I have lived on Riverview Avenue for well over 30 years now. My property is located next to the Day Adventure Center, which, as we know, sits on land owned by Irving. I also would like to make mention, first of all, that before I begin to talk, that I would like to say that, and I want to make it clear to Mayor Avery and council, that I have not spoken to any lawyer at this point on this matter. So that brings me to the question as to why I'm here tonight. The reason why I'm here is not just to represent myself, but also to represent the residents of Riverview Avenue, Memory Lane, and now most recently with the flood of emails, phone calls the last 2 days that I've received, I guess we could say that I'm also representing the town in this matter. So the matter that I'm talking about is, of course, the Day Adventure Center, and I think that no one can dispute this has been an area of concern for many, many years. Most recently, it was, of course, closed down. One section of this area was closed down by the town themselves, which I'm referring to the lower section where the trails are. And that was closed down, I believe, due to concerns from residents, people using the trails, noticing all kinds of garbage, condoms, needles, all of those things that were found in the area. So what I want to mention is that we could talk about this all evening about the concerns that we have and so forth, but that's not the reason why we're here this evening. What we are here for is to talk about moving on to what we're calling our next phase in terms of what can we do to make that area a better area in terms of protection, an area that we as residents in St. George and residents on Riverview Avenue can learn to have some peace, quiet, enjoyment of our own homes, and those types of things. So, having said that, I first of all want to mention that I've been in talks with Jason Gadet since last fall and talking about what can we do to make this happen. And through a number of different ways, through conversation, face-to-face, also through emails, he has committed, and I'm going to make note of this because I believe you have this as well. He has made note, and I will read to you the following. So him and I in correspondence have been.
Can I just mention one thing here though, Steve?
Yes.
These are Facebook conversations, right?
Yes, and I will also mention to you that at no time in the year and a half that we corresponded did he say to me, we can't be corresponding through Facebook. Had I known that, then I certainly could have changed that and we could have done it directly through our business lines. But at no time did he say to me, we are not conducting business through this way. It wasn't until I submitted this to him that he then said to me, this could be a problem.
Okay.
Okay. So what I'm going to say here is this. So in our conversations back and forth, we've talked about things. And at this point, I say to him, so after all this, let me ask you the question, and with a simple yes or no, please answer, are gates going to be installed? He answers in one word, yes. That tells me that he, on behalf of the town, has now made a commitment to the residents of St. George to say that gates are going to be installed at each entrance of the Day Adventure Center, which then leads us as residents to believe that's going to happen soon. So through correspondence back and forth, we've talked about when are they going to be installed. He has also told me that he's given that job, I guess you could say, to Leonard Lee. And again, that's mentioned in here in the document that he says Leonard is working on the installation of the gates. Okay. Also through our correspondence, because of course, cost and factor is always an issue with any town or municipality. So I even went so far as to show him, and you should have this too as well, councilors and mayor. I also sent him and said to him, what about this? Would this be an appropriate gate? In terms of cost, it would not cost a whole lot of money for the town. I also wanted to make mention that I mentioned to him that I said, the posts are already in place there anyway, so there's another thing that doesn't have to be covered in terms of cost. Posts are in place, you can build that gate relatively easily, and therefore now we just need to wait for installation. And again, he has assured me that this is a project that he's handed over to Leonard Lee, and Leonard Lee is working on this. And again, That's noted in the paper where he says Leonard is working on the installation. So also in saying that, the question, of course, comes down to where can the money come from in terms of the gates? Well, unfortunately, because we are in a situation right now with COVID-19, that means a lot of outdoor activities, a lot of festivals and so forth will no longer take place this year. Having said that, that means I'm sure your festival that was lined up to happen is not going to take place. So I'm proposing there is money available there to be put towards the gates if need be. That is certainly something that can be looked at as an option. But again, I want to say that this would not be a gate that would cost a lot of money to install or to build. Secondly, also, I know myself, I'm going to just mention that I just recently purchased a set of gates from Jardines, and these gates cost me $200. So gates can be very, very cheap to buy and purchase. That's not a concern. That's not a problem. And again, like I say, the posts are there, so that certainly would not cause a problem as far as the installation of those as well. Okay, that brings us to the question as to when can we expect the gates to be installed? Well, with the warm weather coming on now, of course, we see more and more of the movement down the Day Adventure Center. We're seeing more and more of the kids coming in there. We're seeing more and more of that taking place. And it's not so much the daytime, it's the evening time that we're concerned about. It's the evening when things have quieted down as far as the mature people have gone home, they're getting ready for work. We are then seeing those young kids coming in. They're gathering still. They are smoking, they're drinking, they're playing loud music. All kinds of disturbances are happening. Okay? So those are things that we need to be addressing. And how we can address those things is simply by putting gates on and have gates locked on a nightly basis. Now, you might be asking the next question in terms of, well, how are we going to do this? If we have gates on, how are we going to have these gates open and closed every single day? Well, the first thing I want to point out is that I sit here every morning in my home and I watch a driver come in, somebody from the works department come in, and they come in to test the water from the pump house every single morning. That is your person there to open the gates every single morning. Cost $0 to the town. Okay, they're coming here anyways, so there's nothing involved in terms of cost there. Now, as far as looking at gates being closed at night, one option that we have available, now I do know, and I spoke to Jason about this in terms of Canal Beach, for example. Now, I know in the past, you did have someone up there closing Canal Beach at night. So I simply said to Jason, well, that person who's closing Canal Beach could also close the gates down here in the evening. I do know that Jason is that person now. So that is a responsibility that he may want to take on or he may not want to take on. But having said that as well, I also said, and I have had lots of conversation with the residents here on Riverview Avenue, and they are more than willing to help out in any way, shape, or form that they can. They said there's absolutely no reason why we can't be given that responsibility at nighttime to close those gates. We can do whatever we can do to help to make this easier on the town. So again, cost $0 for that. Now, I do want to also mention that we may be thinking in terms of, well, what about these early morning risers who want to use the trails, for example? Well, as we know, if you are walking down Riverview Avenue, for example, you simply walk in by the gates and you get access to the trails. If you are coming in from out of town, or if you're coming from any distance and you're driving in a vehicle, you have 2 access points that you can come to. Well, actually, you have 3 access points that you can come to get to the gates. One is Scotiabank. There's a big parking lot behind there. You come down over the hill and you get access to the trail there. The second one is what we call, and have referred to as since I was a kid, the Freshwater Landing. Again, you would park at perhaps maybe the post office, walk down over the hill, and again, you would gain access at the Freshwater Landing. If you are looking to walk the back trail, then of course the curling club would be the place to go. And again, there's all kinds of parking and access areas there for you to go. So it leaves the trail still accessible to people. Even if they are locked, they still have access to the trails if they are early morning risers, say, for example, before the 8:30 opening, if we propose and have that as our time for an opening. Also, I want to address the boaters. So obviously, it's important that we do have hours listed and posted as you are driving into the Day Adventure Center at both entrances. It's important that boaters and people who are using the Day Adventure Center see there is an hours notice there or a signage which says hours of operation or what have you. These are the hours. So what that means is the following. If you are a boater, for example, and you're coming in and you are going to put your boat in the water at the Day Adventure Center, you need to know and you need to be aware and cognizant of the fact that you only have a certain time to be in the water and to get your boat out of the water before the Day Adventure Center closes. Now, if you are someone who chooses to stay longer in the water and you've made that plan ahead of time, then all you simply do is you go to Canal, where the boat dock and the boat launch up there is open 24/7, and you go up there and you launch your boat from there. So that's an easy fix for both situations there too as well. If you are a boater and you're on the water and you do decide that you want to stay out later on the water, you have the assurance of knowing that your vehicle is behind locked gates and it's safe for the night. There's nothing to worry about there whatsoever. I'm just going through my notes. I've addressed all of that. And one thing I want to make mention of next is that so we as residents are asking for, and it's long overdue, we're asking for this this next step to be put into play, as we call it. We certainly feel that it's long overdue, and we certainly feel that as we've presented tonight, it is a situation that will cost the town very little money to do. Okay, all you need to do is, first of all, install the gates. Again, you've got money now aside because of COVID-19. There is money that is available for you to be able to use in other avenues. For example, the gates. Secondly, the gates would not be an expensive venture. Okay, it's just a matter of us trying to pin down an installation as to when it's going to happen, and relying on, first of all, some of your volunteers and people in the neighborhood to help maintain or help to manage those gates. But again, the morning can easily be done because you've got someone from Public Works going in there every morning and testing the water samples in the pumps there. Everything that I have mentioned to you, and again, I mentioned earlier in my presentation that this is Irving land and Irving property. So everything that I have mentioned tonight in my presentation, I also will be taking to Mr. Robert Fawcett, and I'll be addressing the same concerns with him and letting him know that I have spoken to the town, and this is what I've offered the town in terms of a solution to this problem that has been ongoing for many, many years. Certainly we can agree that the town and Irving have certainly had a relationship where Irving's part has been to help to encourage and to help keep community and residents on a same level playing field, and to keep them happy with each other and to keep that community sense. Irving, we know, is very much a community that is based on family, it's based on community, and it is based on that presence in the community. So having said that, we certainly intend to take this to Irving and to have him aware of what has happened and has been happening for many, many years. And also, like I say, to address, this is what we have, a solution that we presented to the town, very simple solution, cost effective and easily to do and easily to maintain. I also want to mention another reason why that's important that we go to Irving, because not only is Irving a stakeholder in terms of the property here, but in the event there is an accident, heaven forbid there was ever an accident down at the Day Adventure Center, when, say for example, and I'm going to use boaters for an example, say for example, a boater is coming out of that water late at night and they have been on the water all day drinking. They then get in their cars and they go down the road with their boat and they have an accident. The liability is going to fall not only on the town of St. George, but it's going to fall on Irving as well, because they have come off of Irving property. So there's a liability issue too that we need to think about, and that needs to be discussed with Irving because they are at stake too. And I don't think, and I think you would agree, Irving does not want to find themselves in a mess like this when again, they are promoting communities and community outreach and being part of a community. Okay. Let's see. So I think I have managed to share with you all of our proposals in terms of gates, where the money could come from for gates. We also have initiated and talked about a plan, who could be opening and closing the gates. That's also something that could be done and controlled by the residents of the town as well as the works department. So again, it's a win-win situation for everybody. The residents on Riverview Avenue and in the town can certainly learn to enjoy what we have here as far as in the community. They could certainly learn to enjoy the trails much more. Many people I spoke to over the last 2 or 3 days said to me over and over and over again, I could not go to that trail and walk down that trail when there was 12 and 13 and 14 cars lined up. And I knew the eyes were on me, and I could feel very uncomfortable doing that. If I had my small children with me, absolutely, I did not go there. I would go down the avenue further and then cut onto the trail. So that trail is not being used for what it should be. People cannot enjoy that trail, and it should be enjoyed by people. Okay?
Okay, well, thank you, Stephen.
All right. So that is all I would like to say. And on behalf of the residents of St. George and Avenue, I certainly thank you for your time, and we certainly look forward to moving forward with you on this endeavor and look forward to hearing from you in the near future.
Okay, thank you for this, and we'll take it back and review it, and we'll get back to you probably by the next meeting.
Thank you.
Have a good evening.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Moving on to general reports. General government. As a result of the province moving to phase orange, full staffing has returned to the town hall and public works, however, with a number of controls in place. The town has submitted a funding proposal to the province on upgrade work at Canal Beach, such as canteen and washrooms building. The total is approximately $75,000. A number of projects that were temporarily slowed down due to the pandemic have started to be reviewed, such as upgrades to the residential lagoon, new well development, paving on Main Street. In addition, the town is working with the province on a slope erosion project on Latique Road and in communication with the province on the repairs to the South Street Bridge. Several initiatives for the fire hall have also started to get back on track, including the vehicle exhaust system. The town, through partnership, St. Mark's Anglican Church and the province, is moving forward in a 3-year restoration project of the First Community Cemetery on Main Street. Also along the Main Street, through funding received by Funding Communication Foundation, the town will improve the small parcel of land on Brunswick Wallace Street, known as Dunwoody Corner. Additional work will occur at the Eagle's Nest with repairs to the steps and continued clearing of vegetation. Through partnership with J.D. Irving and Ducks Unlimited, there will be a new picnic structure on the Marsh Trail across the river from the Day Adventure Center. And over the next month, we hope to move forward with Habitat for Humanity on their housing project on Brunswick Street. So stay tuned for that. We're excited about that. On to community services. Well, it's pretty well at a standstill. There's nothing to report. With the pandemic, all events and activities have been canceled. So moving on to water and sewage. Acting Deputy Mayor Harris.
Water and sewage report for the month of April. The average water consumption for April was 1,468.5 cubic meters for a total of 44,055.6 cubic meters. There was no E. coli or total coliform reported. Chlorine leak at well number 2 and 3 have been repaired. They were split lines on the discharge size of the pump. A service on Hillcrest Drive was reactivated to hook up online after sending steam line down. It failed to free it up. Pump set sewer lift stations 5 and 8 were pulled. The one at 5 had a bolt lodged in it, while the one at number 8 needed a new impeller and wear rings. Sanitary sewer lines on Fundy Bay Drive was cleaned after some of the foam from the DAP plants backed up and came out the manhole at Salar Court. That's all I have, Your Worship.
Thank you. Transportation, Councillor Cook.
We plowed on the first week of April and the second week of May, and hopefully the last for the season. The plows and associated equipment have been taken off and stored at the lagoon. The trackless had the broom installed after left rear brake drum was replaced. The sidewalks have been swept, as well as the curb streets in anticipation of contractors coming in to do the vacuuming. A new spray bar and water pump were also installed on the sweeper. Signs were installed behind the bank, no ATVs, at Canal, an Irving sign, and on Roy Jackson Street, do not enter. The Day Adventure Center was opened up for the summer. The docks will go in as soon as the water goes down enough. The small library was moved from the post office to the park on Main Street. The planter was repaired there as well. Flags were lowered for the tragedy in Nova Scotia for approximately 2 weeks. The storm sewer on Riverview Avenue was cleaned after a hole opened up in the street at Memory Lane. We never found any issues with the pipes except some blockage downstream from Memory Lane. The lines were videoed and cleaned. We do have an issue with a lateral that leads into the sewer from Hillcrest subdivision. We have ordered the pipe and we will replace it as soon as possible. I'd also like to add to it, there was a small pothole in the pavement between the Irving, well, a little further past the Irving by the sea urchin place, between there and before Sid Kerneth. And it was about a 6-inch by 6-inch little square hole. Now it's about 2 feet. We should have been on top of that. We could have used a bag of patch to fix it at one point. And now it's actually gonna take some effort. So we should get there because that's dangerously close to that slope failure. So we should probably somebody look after that patch at ASAP. Thank you.
Jason, when will they begin the lining and the arrows in the parking lots, stuff like that?
We are going to probably be getting the lining done later this month.
Will we also be doing the parking lot, like the FINA parking lot?
For like arrows in.
The arrow in, arrow out.
Yeah, we're looking at a traffic marking. There's a guy that's local here that does traffic marking, so arrows and handicap parking symbols.
Yeah, those ones still look really good, but you can't tell in or out here now. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, anybody else have any questions?
Yeah, just one that Everett had mentioned about the slope over there on the banks. The engineers were there today or this week, weren't they, Jason? When's that going to commence?
Yep, they're doing a pre-design at the moment for the slope erosion project. So we are looking at that. Probably we're meeting on that almost once a week now.
Okay. And the lower bridge, is that starting to come back? I noticed that we had some information on that. Is that going to continue to go, or?
So they've started work today.
Okay.
So the residents are aware of not taking the South Street Bridge as well, going down Brunswick Street. You won't be able to make it down to the Eagle's Nest. You'll have to detour off. But yeah, so they've started this week to do the work on the South Street Bridge as well.
Is that going to go till September?
Yep. The anticipation is that work will be completed in September and the bridge will be opened back up.
Okay, thank you.
Jason, are we able to still use the Eagle's Nest during this?
The lower level?
Yeah, as of right now, no. Just because they're the first part of the work that they're doing. They've got to haul off some decking, but then they're going to go back to the fact that you'll be able to come down Brunswick, go to the Eagle's Nest, and come back up South Street. So, but while they're just the first part of this project will be fairly close to the Eagle's Nest. So
No parking in the lower parking lot or anything?
the lower one is fine. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Tourism, Councillor Allison.
Yes, as of May the 6th, there was a thing put out by the province of New Brunswick for tourism Just a few highlights. A new social project program has been established for the province of New Brunswick to fund online athletes and culture performances during the COVID-19 pandemic. The program launched today by the Department of Tourism, Heritage and Culture aims to address the challenges and the social isolation that has been done for the artists. Also, the artists have been, and their projects, showcases, performances canceled due to the pandemic will receive a $2,000 for their presentation on social media, and all the information can be found on gmb.ca. That's all I
Okay.
have, Your Worship.
Thank you. Economic Development, Councillor Murray.
All right, so I have some good news.
All right, we need it.
So the community garden, we have got the go ahead to open. So we have to maintain the social distancing rules. So we have to be the 2 meters apart. So we are going to be able to operate with every other planter available, which leaves us with 10 planters. I know it's not a lot, but something's better than nothing. So we're going to be releasing applications this week, along with new guidelines and upkeep plans. And the applications are on a first come, first served basis. And now about the splash pad. So due to COVID-19, our fundraising efforts have been put on hold. Not to worry. Once we move into our new normal and everything gets sorted out, we are moving into phase 2 of our fundraising, which is approaching businesses and moving forward with hopefully a water system and going from there. So hopefully this summer we have a splash pad and we can get back on track. And that's all, Your Worship.
Thank you so much. That's great news. Moving on to bills paid and payable in the principal to April 30th, 2020 in the amount of $119,674.84. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Harris,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Allison. Any questions? Hearing no questions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried.
Is that the first month that nobody had a question?
Yeah. Everybody was very quiet. Okay, new business. Our A is the decision of council on summer events and festivals with regards to COVID-19 pandemic. I'm just going to mention a couple of things on that. As we know that the government has asked that there be no events or festivals until after December of 2020. So in staying in tune, other municipalities has canceled their events as well for the rest of 2020. While this is not what we want, it is something we must do. It's not a want, it's a need. So for safety will always come first. Some of our events are the 5K run, Canada Day event, Summerfest, Fall Fair, and possibly the Christmas parade. So do I have a motion that
I'll make that motion.
motion made by Councillor Cook? Do I
I'll
have a second?
second it, but I do want a question.
Well, as soon as you second it, seconded by Deputy Mayor Harris, and go ahead.
I'm just wondering about, I know the pandemic may or may not go on that long, but the Christmas, is that a little far out? Or
That's why I
are
said
we-
possibly.
So the thing is, the motion that we've made, does it have to include that, or is it?
The government is giving December 31st, 2020.
So that's the state, so that's the law anyway, so I guess
Yeah.
okay. No, just a question, I mean,
You have a question, Jenna?
So what happens if we have been moving into phases quicker, right? What happens if that does change and say September, we were given the opportunity just by chance to do something maybe on a smaller scale? Will this take that out of the question?
We'd have to readdress it come then and go forward, but I don't believe that's going to happen.
But
so that's
if there is a possibility, we could readdress this and do something on a smaller scale or whatever.
Right, but we're not saying we're going to do this. We're saying we're going to wait and see what the government has allowed us to do.
So my question again, can I speak again on it?
Sure.
My question again, then why are we making a motion? It's law. Do we need a motion? I know it's maybe just formality. That's what we're talking about. So I'm just wondering if we need to make a motion to that extent to December 31st.
I believe we do because it's been put out there many different places and it's been sent to both Jason and myself, just stating that that is the timeline.
Sounds good. Thank you.
What I'm wondering is, you know, we've had money budgeted for Summerfest and such events such as this.
Correct.
And we definitely won't be hosting those in this summer.
No.
What do you think about redirecting some of those funds into some repairs in the works department and fire department? Our buildings need work, and maybe this is a golden opportunity.
That is something, yeah, we can definitely talk about. We can take a look at stuff with Jason.
And
He can come back to us with ideas.
If things do open up, I mean, we're not gonna see them in July and August, but if things do open up in September or October, we could do small events like what Jenna was suggesting, just a community barbecue. We've done those before.
Yeah.
Those are very popular. And we should,
Get
you know,
everyone over there.
Yeah, and I agree 100%, but I'm just going on what is
Yep.
rules and
Law.
regulations right now. And that is something we can revisit.
okay.
I think we should revisit it later on, but as of right now, why not use some of that money? I agree with Everett to.
Well, that's something that we'll
Put-
go to Jason on, and Jason can,
Okay,
Good. Thank you.
so do I have a motion? I have a seconder. All those in favor?
aye.
Contrary minded, motion carried. Resolution of council of first reading by title only of bylaw number 21, subdivision bylaw.
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Deputy Mayor Harris. You can,
it was by title only as well, so.
yeah.
Yep.
So we're okay?
Yep.
Do I have a seconder?
I'll second it.
Second by Councillor Allison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Resolution of council, a second reading in its entirety of bylaw number 21, subdivision bylaw. I'm going to turn this to Jason.
This is bylaw number 21B, a bylaw 21B being the subdivision bylaw for the town of St. George. This bylaw will be made viewable tomorrow for the next, until the next council meeting. So it is viewable by residents. So that will be the bylaw full reading. So making it viewable as well, not only online, but it is able to be picked up at the town hall. And that's bylaw 21B.
Thank you. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Councillor Murray,
I'll second it.
seconded by Councillor Allison. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Resolution of council to request the view of the Planning Review and Adjustment Committee, PRAC, of the proposed bylaw number 21 subdivision bylaw. Jason?
Yeah, so this will just we just need to have them review 21B and just offer their view on the subdivision bylaw.
Is that what Alex presented tonight?
Yes, yeah, that'll be, and also in council packages, little briefing notes that that the Regional Service Commission has provided us on this this subdivision bylaw.
Right.
Okay, do I have a motion? Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Motion by Councillor Allison,
Second it.
second by Deputy Mayor Harris. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Outstanding delinquent accounts and account write-offs. File TOSG-ARWO 2020 for the amount of $14,743.44 6 individual items, some dating as far back as 2007, under the instruction of an accountant and the clerk, it is best to clear these items from the books. These are a mixture of delinquent accounts, which by all means of recovery have been exhausted, and there's no expectation of payment. Do I have a motion for this?
So moved.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Harris,
I'll second that.
seconded by Councilor Murray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Contrary minded? Motion carried. Old business, resolution of council of a third and final reading of bylaw number 85, garbage and recyclables collection. We're going to leave this on table, I believe, Jason?
Yeah, that's still remaining on table. We've said that we've posted that to a future date. With the COVID, things have kind of slowed down for us to be able to meet on that. So you know, our anticipation is for that to be brought forward at the June meeting of council, and for its final reading, third and final reading.
Great, thank you.
But we don't need a motion because that's already gone.
It's tabled.
Right.
Correspondence, letter from Minister Oliver, DTI, requesting 2021 to 2025 municipal designated highway plan. Jason?
Minister Oliver just requesting from the town of St. George our municipal designated highway 5-year plan. So we have a 5-year plan that goes up to 2024. So we would have to be looking at including a new section of provincial municipal designated provincial road to be worked on. So we do have up until August the 31st to respond to them. So we'll be, I'm sure, having some discussions on that and what's the next step. Just to remind everybody, the municipal designated highway is the provincial roads in our town. So be Mount Pleasant up by the high school, Lateet Road, Thunder Bay Drive, that road, as well as the Lateet Road that goes through to Maine to connect with Maine, and then out towards Bonnie River. That's the provincial road. So over the next couple of years, we'll be doing some work on the Mount Pleasant Road, continuing to do some of the shoulder work and installing the sidewalk. Once that's done at the top, then that within those years, we'll be coming back down the bottom of Mount Pleasant and finishing the sidewalk. And then after that, that's where right now we will have to make some decisions on what to do for 2025. So again, these are all plans. The municipal designated highway didn't happen last year. It didn't happen. It won't be happening again this year, we've been told. So again, this is just, you know, putting sort of what our thoughts are long term. So we won't be bound by anything at that point. You know, it's going to be a few years away, and each year, as you guys know, we do have to approve the municipal designated highway plan. So that should probably something we probably bring on agenda, if not the June meeting, probably the July meeting.
Perfect, thank you. Okay, and we also have a letter from Charlotte Dial-A-Ride. Dear Mayor and Councilors, Charlotte County Alternative Transportation Association will be holding our AGM virtually in the next few weeks. When we first incorporated over 15 years ago, we are fortunate enough to have each of the municipalities represented on the board of directors. This gradually fell away over the years as the demands for time for mayors and councilors increased. We invite you to appoint an individual to represent the town of St. George on our board of directors. They would give council the opportunity to keep current on the service that we are providing to the residents. At the same time, the collaboration would give us valuable input towards our strategies and growth. Transportation is recognized as being a vital service in connecting our residents, and our participation would be much appreciated. Board meetings are roughly once a month, and they average 1 hour. Most likely, we will be moving in Zoom type meetings for the rest of the year. Please forward the name and contact information to me by May 15th, if possible, at this email address, or call me at 466-5855. Do we have anybody on the council that's interested in sitting on this board?
I will.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Allison. Jason, did you want to reach out, or?
Yep, I can certainly, I'll respond back to them and let them know that Councilor Allison is interested in serving.
Thank you, Councillor Ellison.
No problem.
Any statements by members of council? Well, I'll start out. Today is May 11th. It was supposed to be the election day today, but because of the pandemic, here we still sit for another year. But that's okay because we stepped up. We said we wanted to represent our town, so we're going to represent our town. But let's hope that this pandemic gets straightened out and that we can get our elections back on track. And everybody's doing a phenomenal job. Just want to let you each know that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Amen.
No other? On to public presentations.
So this would be the point if any attendees wish to address council. We can take statements from the public for 5-minute time limit. All you'd have to do is just do a hand raise or let the switchboard operator know that you're interested. We'll just give it a couple minutes. Just as we go through this as well, just, you know, we thank all of council's, thank everyone on council and their patience as we get through some of these technical hiccups. It's all new for a lot of us, and you know, certainly each time we get better, and so we'll be pros by the end of this, I'm sure. So we do have, it looks like Mr. Swim just raised his hand for a public statement, and we'll just get Chris to move him over.
Nope, he's gone.
And went there. Oh, there he is.
Hi, Stephen.
He's on mute. Unmute him.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. Hi, Stephen.
Many people have tried to mute me for many, many years. So. Again, I just want to say thank you to council, and we certainly, as a group, are looking forward to making this move with council, taking the next step, which we feel is a very positive step, not just for our street and our community, but also for the town itself. And I think it certainly will play out very well and show itself very quickly in terms of what we are doing to manage the situation in town and what we are doing to show that enough is enough, that we have had enough with what's going on, and we're not accepting this type of behavior in our town. Thank you.
Thank you.
I think that is it. And yep, that would be it.
Everything? Okay. Date of our next regular meeting, Monday, June 8th, 2020, 7 p.m., wherever we're at the time.
Adjournment to, motion to adjourn.
Moved by Deputy Mayor Harris.
Second it.
See
Seconded
you
by.
later, guys.
See
See
ya.
ya. Thank
See
you.
ya.
Have a good evening.
Thanks.